It's a 200 Series Landcruiser. It's totally a toy grade model. It's got the little brushed motors in it for steering and driving. It's slow, and it arrived broken. It's got a sweet little interior in it. There's a bit of a story behind why I couldn't get a refund and send it back, which I was happy to do. But instead I accepted that I have to keep this thing. So now the question is, what do we do with it? And I'm thinking, given how nice and flat it is underneath, there might be some potential to make these back wheels spin just a little faster than they do from factory. Let's get to work. My boy and I yesterday, we were having some fun. We decided just to use the stock electronics. I've got them here. There's the steering motor and the go motor, the receiver. I've got the transmitter here, and it is just a toy grade. So here's the chassis. It's got the steering mechanism I've half taken apart already. Some of its gears and guts are here. So when you steer left, it just goes chukunk, and when you steer right, chukunk, and then this little spring just centers it. This thing is quite flat, so why not make something that's kind of fun? So that's where I'm up to. Right now I'm just trying to get the spacing right. I've been drilling holes, little holes here. The motor goes in, sits against this guy here, and I've just been drilling holes to get the spacing right so that the mesh is perfect, and then that gear rides on that, and it's a lock diff, but there you go. So I thought we might make an El Cheapo Dorito Landcruiser. So that's where I'm up to. Alright, I've got the cover back on. The gear mesh is good. Got the motor turning, so now it's time for a test. So here's what we're going to do. So we strap this thing down so it's not going anywhere. Good. Now I can't hear you because I've got protection on, but safety first. Now we've got this ESC, we've got an enormous battery. It's working! Look at this. Brushless power. Now it's time to put it together. Oh, now we've got to do steering. Let's do that. Okay, steering. I have a 5-pack of Emax ES08MA2 analog servos. I've got a 5-pack for like 25 bucks. They're cheap, and I think they're going to be just the right thing. So now we're going to get the steering plate off, and I'm going to see if we can mod in some kind of steering now that we've got the brushless sorted. Getting exciting. Okay, this was the original steering setup. It's got a gear. A lot of cheap RCs just use a little motor with a gear, and it tries to spin, but it only goes rant, rant. And that's all the little cheap RC cars that you ever see that go tung, 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 and that's it. There's no proportional steering. So this gear would sit in here. Oh, I had it off. Hang on. Yeah, it's not right. Anyway, it would spin. It would. There's your steering right there. Now I could put this gear through a screw onto the servo here and do the same thing, but this servo is designed to give you like 90 degrees each way. It wouldn't spin far enough, nor fast enough to give us the spinning we want. So what I'm thinking is we're gonna get rid of that. We'll keep this here because the top plate, what holds everything together, is going to be needed for that axle. It'll keep things straight. So I've been looking at this a little bit more, and this is the steering arm here, and the bracket that goes over the top is this guy here. It's got channels. Those prodded things underneath it. It moves like this. This is upside down, okay? That's how it moves. And so I've got this nice flat area here which sits over here. So what we need is a way to get a servo to move either something back and forth. I don't think I'm going to get directly on, but there's this nice blank space here which sits over that, and that's where this thing was before, this geared thing. What I'm thinking is we'll get this is a motherboard standoff. I reckon about there. I don't want to disrupt the mold underneath. And we'll cut a bit of an oval, it'll be a hack job, but what you'll have coming out of the top is just a little bit of this out the top going jump, 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 jump. Alright, so I've just drilled the hole in the steering rack, and I'm just sticking this standoff through it, and I have these lock nuts which I think will fit underneath. Yeah, there you go, that's what I wanted, nice and snug. So get some pliers on it and just hold it, and just hold it, and just hold it, there we go, and do it up. Now this plastic has some flex to it, but you go too far and it'll be brittle, it'll break. Now that doesn't move, so now, we've got a handle here too, now this sits, hopefully, yeah, look at that. So now, we need this top because it's got to hold down the wheels and everything. So what we need to do is line things up, which is about there. And I'm now steering. Can you guess what I'm doing? If you guessed I'm marking where I've got to cut, you're right. So there are now scratches here for that. So what we need to do now is cut somewhere like that. See if that pops out. Yep, here it goes. You ready? Look at that. So I said it would be a hack job, but let's test how that went. Okay, so my marking wasn't great. We need to go further across. Cut it longer. This is what you call eyeball engineering. We're just kind of, because it's not for anything that's going to last a terribly long time. I mean, we're putting brushless in this little thing. The gears are going to fry themselves real fast. Okay, so I just need to bring this back a little bit. But that's the idea. This is going to work nicely, I think. We've moved it back a bit, even further. So now, line it all up. All the bolt holes are aligned. There we go. Now we've got free moving. Now I just need to get a link onto this thing. Doesn't have to be as long as this either. Then we're going to get a servo and a servo arm. Doesn't have to be far away there. Just about here will be good. There we go. So he's tight. And I made this. And this guy on one end is going to go through this, which is going to be on the servo. The other end, I'm hoping, I haven't actually tested it yet. I thought I'd bring you along to test it. Here we go. You ready? Hooray! Hey, hey! Yeah, look at that. We're closer to having steering, which means we're closer to Drifto 200. Given this is not going to be a long-term machine anyway, I reckon we're just going to go with hot glue. But before we hot glue it into position, I want to make sure I've got this servo, which is new and fresh out of the packet. We've got it at center. I've got an FSA3, which is all of $6 or $7. Wonderful cheap things. We're plugging that in because my little custom BC ESC thing I made from years ago. Bind plugs in. Oh, now I think you actually have to turn this off, turn it on with bind, let go, turn it off, turn it on again. There you go. Good. And steering trim is centered. Good. So now I just need to get center on the steering wheels here. I need to put in our little servo, work out where center is, work out how much throw there is. You can see it doesn't actually have to travel very far. So we're also going to have to use one of these first holes because and still limit the servo's throw. But that's good because that means this thing will have more torque available. We're going to just make a little assumption of center, roughly. Pick him up, put him roughly at center, and just check out the alignment here. Is that going to work? I can also make this longer actually. You know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to make it longer till this thing lines up precisely with that there, which means we're going to hot glue it right like that. And I don't think we're going to need that lock nut because that really is a nice fit. Oh yeah, we're going to make this longer, won't we? Alright. Let's try that. Alright, you've only missed a minute. The hot glue is still hot and, well, not wet, but it hasn't set yet. I know this is doing it the lazy way, but this is a short-term fun machine. So we've got hot glue underneath it, then I just put some all around it. Once it sets, it's not going anywhere. The closer hole you are to the center point, the less total movement you're going to get, because on an arc, if you picture it on an arc, see my finger moving like that, this and this point are both moving the same degrees, but this is only covering that much distance, whereas the tip of my finger is covering a lot more distance. So we might need to go up a hole. So what we're going to do now is just plug in and power up, and we're going to see, oh look, we got steering. So torque is good here. I just want to see if the full throw of the radio is enough. Oh, it is. Hopefully it hasn't set yet. That's actually perfect. Look at that. We got steering. Do you know how rad that is? Considerably rad. That's the answer. Now, endpoint. We are going to go all the way left and drop it. And then we're going to increase it until it maxes and then go back a little bit. There we go. And we go right, drop him right down, and go all the way over, and I just keep maxing it until it goes, then I drop it back a bit. There we go, look at that. Oh, now because it's, let me just see here, 59.73. Okay, so now because it's too fast for the throw of the steering, we're going to introduce some expo. We're going to go, let's see. What we're doing here is now it smooths things out, so it makes my initial movements less dramatic. So the last bit of the throw gives you a lot more. I'm going to make it about yeah, it's good. About 45%, and then back and then trim. There we go. Steering's done. Throttle's done. So now I'm going to get this thing back together and we're going to test it. Really simple. Battery's going to fit underneath, so I've still got to fit the battery jibber through the bottom. We might hot glue some of this stuff down. We'll screw the top back on. Alright, so before I put the body back together, I just thought I'd show you what we've got. Motor, the brushless motor's inside. Speed control, radio, servo. Plug him in, turn him on. And I just want to check that everything's good, basically, before I bolt this body back together. Battery cover goes on. There's no on-off switch, but that doesn't matter because it's just temporary use. Now, steering, like this is totally cool. Oh yeah. What about on some traction? I've got to be careful here. I don't want to strip these gears. It breaks traction on the carpet. It's too much. So what we're going to do is also put some expo. This is like a... This is the lazy way to do it. I'm going to put like 20%. And how do we get reverse? There we go. I might make it even higher for reverse. Oh, actually no, because you want braking as well. Alright. That's better. So now it's more controllable because we've made it a little bit slower, but then when you squeeze the throttle, you're going to get full beans. Let's get this body back on. these little plastic gears aren't going to take a lot of this abuse, but man, is a whole lot better now. I don't feel quite so bad about the misunderstanding with Ali now. We've got this thing powered up like it should be. Yeah, we've got a couple of scratches on it now, but that's because it's actually fun to drive. Thanks for watching. Throw me a like and I'll catch you next time on RC-TNT. It's working!